Hey guys, Tonic here. Today I have something I'm pretty proud of to show you. This is a shelter build that I've been working on for the past few weeks in the cave shelter. Now this is a before image of the cave shelter, a little pan through shot, and this is an after image. You can clearly see the amount of work that went into this. It took me a while to get everything positioned, all of the floors kind of clipped into the cave, and I think it turned out pretty well. So I kind of wanted to go for a very naturey type vibe with this shelter. I've always had the idea of Oasis from Fallout 3 in my mind, and I kind of wanted to create something somewhat resembling that, something very green, very alive with a lot of flora, but I still did want to keep that vault tech kind of vibe going, so I did wind up building an overseer's room, which you are seeing right here. Now Vault-Tec has obviously never really built a vault like this, it really doesn't make too much sense in the lore, but I did kind of create a little headcanon for it. So this area, in my head at least, is an area that Vault-Tec was creating mini personal geks, and they set one off here to test it, and that is where all this flora came from. Now obviously in lore terms that makes zero sense, and even in scientific terms there's no sunlight here to kind of grow these flowers, but that's kind of what I'm going with. Now this is part of the housing for the vault. Now housing was kind of a weird thing in here because there is a lot of room in the shelter, but in terms of building these prefab structures there really isn't too much room, so I was only able to fit one camper in here that would look decent, and I'm not too sure who would live in here. Maybe the head of security or just maybe the vault champion, one of the people that kind of go out there and scavenge for the vault. Most of the other beds are just hammocks or sleeping bags and tents. The sleeping situation is not too figured out yet, I guess, but I did the best I could. Now this is a crafting area, and the crafting area, believe it or not, was actually kind of tough to make. Fitting all of those workbenches in that small tent is extremely challenging, but again I kind of made it work by clipping them into the tent. And now we are at the final part of this camp shelter, and by the time that I got here building, my camp budget was pretty much maxed out, so I really couldn't do too much in here in terms of decorating, so I kind of went for a very makeshift armory. So this is kind of where the camp shelter or vault residents are going to have their armory. They have some nice sets of power armor that they maybe collected over the time exploring the wasteland. They have a few outfits, they have the special loadout and some stash boxes, but that was pretty much all that I could really fit in there. And so if you would like to build one of these shelters for yourself, or at least something similar to it, there are a few things that I would like to show you to help you in this process. Number one, of course, with being the flooring. The flooring is actually a little bit tricky to get down. The best method that I've found to get this flooring to work correctly would be to build the sides first and then come out from the entrance and trying to match it with those sides. You can kind of see me doing it here with this process, and then eventually once you do get it, you can just kind of run around the entire exterior and clip it right into the wall so it is seamless. Here's a look at the flooring just on some of the exterior of my build, and as you can see it is 100% seamless. The ground actually goes right over it. In some places the textures will even carry over from the ground, so like you see right there, there's some texturing from the ground kind of being lifted up. It looks great, and I'm actually really happy with these results. Next up, I would like to show how I got all of these lights to clip into the ceiling of my shelter. They look super cool, they give a very nice atmosphere around the entire place, and they're really not that hard to do. So the way that you're going to want to do this is you're going to want to build a staircase and then kind of go to the top of the staircase and just start moving it while you're walking. This way you can kind of fly around the shelter and just have something to stand on. And once you get up to an area that you would like to put one in, take one of these large plasma balls and you can kind of clip it right into the rock. You want to get a really good angle. It is kind of tricky, but like right there would be a decent one. It's pretty much all the way hidden, but the glow effect is still perfect. And now lastly, I would like to show off the garage door trick. Now, this works best with this garage door right here, an atomic shop item. You can kind of get it just a little distance away. However, it still does work with this garage door as well as the vanilla one as well. It just takes a little bit more tweaking. When you do have it here, you can kind of see these gaps on the sides. What I did for that was I went over into the floor decor area, and I just took some bushes and some rocks and pretty much anything that I could find to try and cover this up. So what I would do is maybe place a rock down here, and then I would go over into the bushes area and just place some bushes on top of it and try and use these to really cover everything up. And then once you do have the area covered up, go ahead and just take some random little greenery. It can be any type of plant, and you just want to place them in the bushes. That way people cannot walk through them and they will actually be halted by these objects. Now there is one last thing that I would like to show, and that is the entrance to the cave. The entrance is honestly not that flashy because my budget was pretty much already used up. So what I did is I put two snow machines here, so when you spawn in, this is kind of what you see. I also do have a fog machine up here, but it does kind of turn off every time that you leave. But when it is running, I mean, it does look like a really cool entrance, but this was definitely the hardest area for me to try and figure out. This cave shelter is easily my favorite shelter in the game. There are so many possibilities with this, and I still do have a lot of really cool ideas I do want to try. But that is pretty much it for this video, so I do want to give a massive thank you to everybody who stopped by and watched, and as always, a massive thank you to all of the channel members: Robert Kennard, SDeath93, Joshua Graham, Lanthar, Anna Reestes, Fallout McFly, Captain Awesome, Citizen Girl, Chad of Fallout 76 Podcast, Heather Henderson, Yosevated, Patrick Ruda, 23 Icefire, Jay Smith, Argent Deer, Bowser Double Frang, Ice Cream Manny, Chris Decker, Theodore, Digital Art of Arc, Lone Samurai OG, Deathan Gaming, Christy Mellon Schwitz. You guys are amazing. I love you guys, and have a great day.